Hi everyone, welcome to Java Techie. Have you ever faced a scenario where loading a response takes too long, making user frustrated with your application? For example, imagine you have a huge data near to 50k or even 1 million of records, and when the user loads the page, it takes more than a minute just to display the data in UI. So, how you can optimize the response and give a better user experience? The solution is straightforward. Stream the responses. Instead of waiting to prepare the entire payload, you send chunks of data to the UI as they are ready, right? In this video, I will show you two powerful way to stream the data with real-time examples. So you can optimize your application based on your use case. Okay, all right. So without any further delay, let's get started. So to demonstrate stream of response in Spring Boot, I have created this simple application. If you observe, I have just created an entity called stock with couple of field, and then we created the controller class to load all the stock from the DB, and I have created a repository, just a JPA repo. That's it. Okay, it's just simple Spring Boot get API. Now, if I'll show the DB, we have created a stock DB with 10,000 records. Okay, so forcefully I added 10,000 records to show you the clear picture of streaming the response in Spring Boot. Now go to the controller class. This is the method or this is the endpoint currently we have. Now let's access this particular endpoint and we'll see the problem. Then we'll understand why streaming the response is important in real time. Now let me start the application. So you can see here it started on port 9191. Now go to the browser and I will simply hit 9191, loading all the stocks. Okay, now can you see here it's keep loading the page. I didn't get any response back. Since I have 10,000 record, what internally Spring does, it load all the records, it deserialize all the records to in memory. Then once all are ready, it give me the response back. That is the reason when I trigger the request, it's keep buffering. I'm not able to see the response until unless it loads everything to in memory. Once it loaded everything, then it gave me the response of all the 10,000 stock object what I have in my DB. Can you see here? So this is just a demo application. Now think about in real time, you hit some endpoint or you are accessing something which will take 1 minute or 2 minute time to load the whole page. Will you use that application again? No, right? You will simply give left and right. You will never going to use that application. But what if we can enhance the API? Instead of sending everything in one go, why can't I send chunks of data once it is ready in my backend? That is where streaming of response comes into the picture. Now let's implement the streaming of response in Spring application. Then we'll see how it load the page. Okay, whether it is giving me a better user experience or not. Now go to the code. So let's define a method will return the stream of response. Okay, public. I'll use something called streaming response body stream of stock. I'll give HTTP servlet response. Next, what I'll do here, we are not going to send the direct raw object. Okay, what do we want to send? We want to send event of stream. Okay, so for that reason, you need to set the response type so that your browser or client treat it as a stream of data. So for that reason, what you can do, response dot set content type text slash event hyphen stream. Next, you can simply return output stream. Then inside that you call your stock service dot fetch all the stock you can do the for each. You will get stock object. Now simply define, try and catch inside this for loop. Now what you need to do, you have the stock object, just convert it to the JSON string and push it to the output stream. Just write it to the output stream. So for that what you can do, new object mapper dot write value as a string and pass your stock object. It will give you string of JSON. Now simply what you can do, just append a new line to it. Once you have JSON with you, you just get the content of that JSON and do output stream dot write JSON dot get bytes. Now what you can do, immediately push the chunk of response you prepared to the client. So for that you need to flush your stream. So you can throw some exception or log it. Let me throw something. Now let's define this at the rate get mapping and I'll define the endpoint URL, let's say stream. Now this what this method does, we understand, it load everything to the in memory then return to the client, right? But what this particular method will do, it will keep fetch the stock object, convert it to the JSON. Since we are using output stream, it will keep write the available JSON object to the stream and immediately send it to the client. So that, okay, let's run it, then we'll see the result. Let me restart the application. So you can see here it started. Go to the browser and I'll just append stream. This is the new endpoint. Just enter it. You are keep getting the response. See this particular bar, it's keep going up. It means things are getting loaded. Now if you want to visualize this in a better way, to show that it's keep the backend keeps sending the chunk of stream, I'll go to the postman, new request. Can you see here? Keep receiving the response. See the time it's taking and this receiving response. You can visualize them in the browser itself. Okay, this is our client for now. Now this way, user no needs to wait for everything to load. He just trigger the endpoint. Whatever things are ready in backend, it send chunk by chunk. That's how the user will happy to access your application. You will not get frustration to use your application. Fine. Now let's think about different use case. Let's say user want to get the live update for a specific stock. Let's say this one. For each update on this particular stock, user want to see the live feeds of it. How we can design that? So in the previous example, we load all the stocks from the DB and send them chunk by chunk. But if user want to check for a specific stock and its live update, then how you can design it? Now let me add another endpoint. So I have added this simple method where the endpoint is live and same approach we are following. We are still using the streaming response body, and if you see here response.set content type, we are setting it. Now what I am doing here, I just want to send 20 update. I am not fetching it from the DB because I don't have a multiple stock value for a specific stock. So that is the reason I just hard coded to simulate the actual use case. Okay, I will send 20 update and I will generate some random price for that stock and I will keep writing to the output stream and I will publish in every 1 second. Publish something, some update, wait for 1 second, then send another update. So till 20 seconds it will publish 20 event. Okay, this is the simple example I have defined. Now trust me, this is one of the interview question, how we can update the live data or how we can create the live dashboard. Okay, so let's run it and we'll see the result. So it started. What is the endpoint? Live. Go to the browser and I will change it to live. Now it will give me the 20 update of that stock. Every 1 second you will get some random value and you will keep getting the response. Since this is the demo, I am not fetching it from any API or from the DB. I hard coded some random value and sending it back. But if someone will ask you to design an application where you want to display the live feeds, call the external API to get the response and send them immediately to the client. Can you see here? If I'll run it again, it will keep sending me 20 update. That is how I created the loop to run it 20 times. So we got the 20 update. So we are good here. Now if you check the code, we understand how you can load the bulk data or how you can send bulk data to the client with output stream, and how you can also return the live update for a specific stock using this streaming response body. But is there any alternative approach we can follow to achieve the same? Yes, you can go for Spring Reactive, or even you can go for gRPC, or even you can go for server sent event. There are multiple options, but you need to decide what to use based on your use case. Now, if you don't know how to work on Spring Reactive, then I already have a dedicated playlist of the Spring Reactive starting from 0 to advanced. I'll share the link in video description. You can refer that. So you can go for this streaming response body approach for simple use case. First of all, if you are using Spring MVC, then go for it. And you have a simple use case like download a large PDF or CSV or video file, or you want to show the progress of download those files, or just progress update for long running tasks, or if you want to use the simple streaming, you can go for this streaming response body. Still it has the limitation, it use the servlet stack and each request still ties of a servlet thread. So if you roughly take the number, it is not great fit for if you have more than 10,000 client. Okay, so if you are already on Spring MVC and just need a basic streaming log files or progress update, then this streaming response body works perfect. Now what is the alternative? We can go for Spring Reactive, and that is the straightforward solution which will be run on reactive stack like Netty. And the advantages of using it, it's non-blocking and it's follow the event loop model, can scale to thousands of clients with fewer resources. Okay, so let's try to understand how can we achieve the same thing using Spring Reactive. So first of all, to work with the Spring Reactive, you need to add the Spring Webflux dependency. Okay, I'm talking about this dependency. Just update the project. So I will create another controller to understand this reactive flow. I will name it reactive stock controller. I will annotate at the rate rest controller. Define the base URL something like reactive stock. Then inject the stock service. Now what is the first approach we want to follow, or first use case we want to design? Load all the records, right? Stream of records and send them chunk by chunk. So I need to call this particular method. But in reactive approach, you cannot play with the raw object. If it is a list of object, you can go for flux. If it is a single object, you can go for mono. Okay. So let me change the code in stock service. Public, return me the flux of what is the object? Stock object. Then define the methods. Now see the simple approach here. What you can do, return flux dot from iterable and just call this particular method. Will return everything in a flux. If you want, you can just add delay elements and you can define duration, let's say 1 second. So you no need to add this. I'm adding this particular line to show you that okay, it's sending stream of data in every 1 second. But this is optional. I just added it for demo. Fine. Now let's call this particular method from our reactive controller. Let me define an endpoint. Public will return flux of stock. You can name it something stream stocks. Then I can simply call return stock service stream stock. Define the endpoint and give the URL something like /stream. Okay, and also here you need to define what is the data you want to produce. I want to produce event stream value. So that is the reason you have defined this method will produce of media type dot text event stream value. Now let's try to write the other use case where you want to send the live update for a specific stock. So the approach is again straightforward using reactive programming. You can define public flux of, I'm defining another endpoint, stream stock price. Now what you can do here, you can return flux of every 1 second duration of seconds 1. Then I want to emit 20 object or 20 event. I will say take 20. Fine. Then I will just loop and map some 20 dynamic object. Okay, when I'm saying object, some random value. So what I can do, dot map, I'll get the I, or you can name it stock. That's it. What I'm doing here, I will emit 20 event, getting each event and just generating some random price using random next double, and I'm just returning the stock price. I'll just annotate here at the rate get mapping, or I'll simply copy this, right? Because I also need to define what I want to produce. I'll change it to live. Okay, and I want to produce text event stream value. Remember, while working on the Spring Reactive, if you want to send stream of event, then you must need to specify the produces. If you'll not define this, it will simply return as a list of string, list of stock here. Okay, all good. Now what we can do, let's run this application and we'll test this reactive stock approach. So it started. Now I will copy this particular URL, reactive stock. First endpoint is stream. So go to the browser. Now hit the endpoint stream. Can you see here? Every 1 second we are getting the records from the DB. That's how we have added forcefully the delay for 1 second. Can you see here? Delay element every 1 second. You'll keep getting the event on every 1 second. I have just added the delay to show you that okay, every 1 second the records is being pushed or the record is being emitted from my backend to the client. Good. Now let's test the other endpoint, that is live. Can you see here? We are keep getting the record. You'll get 20 events. So you can go for this Spring Reactive always. That is the preferred approach to use. So if you are building a real-time system with lots of concurrent user, then this reactive programming is the clear winner. Or if you need high concurrency real-time dashboard implementation, go for this Webflux. If it is a plain Spring MVC, then go for streaming response body. Okay, so I hope you understand when to go for streaming response body in Spring Boot and which approach to use. Streaming response in Spring Boot is always easier than you think, and the benefit, it will give the fast response, lower server memory usage, and then it will give the better scalability for large dataset. So when your API deals with large responses, don't wait until the end, stream it and let your client enjoy the data flow in real time. Okay, so just give a try and do let me know in a comment section if you have any doubts.